Good morning, my audience. This is Paul, and today we're going to be doing a video that was not my original idea. This was actually suggested by, who else? Esabelle's Psychology Life Hacks. She wanted to see if there's a disconnect between how we view ourselves in the Myers-Briggs typology indicator versus how others view us. So we came to the mutual understanding that we would each make videos taking the test, but from what we believe the other's perspective is. So a little bit later along the line, she'll be making a similar video where she discusses what she thinks I would answer on the Myers-Briggs test. And as of right now, because my videos are much more plain and to the point, I'm going to be talking about what I think her answers are. Now, obviously, they're not going to be 100% perfect because she's an INFJ, I'm an ISTJ. We're both introverts, so most of our decision making and thinking is up here rather than out there. So she was also intending on making a response video of like, how accurate did I actually get it, and will this test still make her an INFJ despite all that? So without further ado, just for clarification's sake, I wanted to let you guys know that I am using human metrics because I found that that's generally speaking the most reliable test. I'm sure if you want to disagree, feel free. I mean, there's only so many free Myers-Briggs tests out there, but we're just going to go with it and see what happens. So, question number 1. You are almost never late for your appointments. She's usually on time for our phone calls, so I'll put a lowercase yes for that, because I imagine dominant intuition has a tendency to forget about reality. You like to be engaged in active and fast-paced jobs. I think she'd probably say lowercase no to that. I don't think she'd necessarily mind fast-paced, but I don't think it's her preference. You enjoy having a wide circle of acquaintances. That's definitely a yes, because she constantly refers to her loyal fans of her channel as her family. And I think she enjoys that camaraderie and that closeness. However, I'm going to put a small yes, just because I feel like she wouldn't go out and just take anyone. She'd really zero in and say, you guys actually mean something to me. We are very good friends. You feel involved in watching TV soaps. I'm going to put uncertain because the topic has never come up about soaps. I would imagine she'd say lowercase yes, but I don't want to put words in her mouth in an area where I literally have no idea how she would respond. You are usually the first to react to a sudden event, the telephone ringing or unexpected question. From what I've heard about INFJs, they're not particularly good at that. They typically overthink what it could be. So that's another unsure. But I'd probably put a lowercase no, just because I feel like she'd probably spend a little bit of time thinking about it first. I really don't want to do a whole lot of uncertains, so hopefully my guesswork is good enough for you guys. You feel that the world is founded on compassion. Pretty sure she would put an uppercase yes for this, because she talks about Jesus a lot, and, I mean, Jesus was definitely compassionate, that's for sure. I know she does put emphasis on logical reasoning, but I don't think she would say the world is founded on logic, just that logic is important to have. You think that everything in the world is relative? Probably not. I think she does like to think in objectivity, so I'm going to put a lowercase no, just because I feel like intuition would have a certain degree of relativity, but probably not a huge priority. Observance of the established rules is likely to prevent attaining a good outcome. That's another good question, because when it comes to her faith, that would be very strict, but established rules meaning societal norms, probably a lowercase yes here, just because I feel like she probably would follow the rules to a certain degree, but probably not nearly as much as I would. It is difficult to get you excited. think probably I'd probably say a lowercase no, because it does seem like she gets excited. It's just a subdued excitement because she's an introvert, and INFJs tend to be more excited from other people's excitement than their own. When making a decision, you rely more on your feelings than on analysis of the situation. I'm going to put a lowercase yes here, because I know she does try to think of things logically, but to say that she doesn't rely on feelings is blatantly untrue. You often think about humankind and its destiny. I think she'd probably say an uppercase yes. I think that's pretty much par for the course for intuitive types. You believe the best decision is one which can be easily changed. I don't know. Being a judging type, she probably would like to think that her decision is final, and she doesn't really want to budge on that unless God himself intervenes. So I'll probably put lowercase no here. You often ponder the root cause of phenomena and things. You prefer to act immediately rather than speculate about various options. Definitely not. That's a giant no there. You trust reason rather than feelings. I think I would probably put a lowercase no here. Just because, again, feeling types are... obviously, they make a lot of decisions based on feelings, but I do think it's a lowercase no because she does use a good amount of reasoning, having tertiary introverted thinking after all. You are inclined to rely more on improvisation than on prior planning. That's definitely more of a lowercase no. I feel like improv comedy is more of my style than hers. You spend your leisure time actively socializing with a group of people, attending parties, shopping, etc. Probably after the pandemic loosens, that's what she'll do, because even introverts are starting to get a bit stir-crazy with the quarantines, but I would like to think on an average day that would probably be a giant no. I think she would probably want to be in a tranquil environment that's to her control. You usually plan your actions in advance. Definitely. That's an uppercase yes right there. Your actions are frequently influenced by your emotions. Probably a lowercase yes there, because I can definitely see a lot of her actions being emotional, but again, she talks about reasoning so much. So I think that proves that she's not a dominant feeler, because she definitely has a smidgen, well, I would say more than a smidgen, more of like a fairly decent chunk of thinking somewhere in there. You are a person somewhat reserved and distant in communication. I would say it depends on who she's with, because when she's around me, I think if given her way, she could probably talk more than I can, which is understandable. INFJs are the most extroverted introverts. But I would say probably a lowercase yes, just because I feel like I can't only observe her with me. I'd have to think about what she's like around other people. You know how to put every minute of your time to good purpose. I would probably say uppercase yes here, because it does seem like everything she does is deliberate. You often contemplate the complexity of life. Yeah, I think she probably would, so that's an uppercase yes there. After prolonged socializing, you feel you need to get away and be alone. Yeah, I think that's another uppercase yes there. You often do jobs in a hurry. No. She considers YouTube to be like her job, and I don't see her rushing products. I see her taking her sweet time and saying quality over quantity, so that's definitely a lowercase no, or an uppercase no. You easily see the general principle behind specific occurrences. Me being a censor, I don't really know what that means, so I'm guessing she's probably going to say an uppercase yes. So I'm just going to pull a wild one here. You frequently and easily express your feelings and emotions. I'd probably say a lowercase yes, just because I feel like she'd need to, like, make sure she's comfortable revealing it to the camera. But I also feel like if I were to ask her how she's feeling, she would probably answer it a lot more readily than I would. So I'm going to put a lowercase yes just to be safe. You find it difficult to speak loudly. I mean, that's all a matter of how her vocal cords are, which I'm not a doctor. I don't know how her vocal cords work, so I'm going to put uncertain just because I literally have no idea. She's definitely capable of speaking loudly on the phone, but that's a good question of whether she does that automatically. You get bored if you have to read theoretical books. Definitely not. You tend to sympathize with other people. That's a big yes there. Definitely a pretty strong extroverted feeling. You value justice higher than mercy. I think I'm going to lean towards the lowercase no here for her, just because I feel like she'd probably cite the Bible and talk about how Jesus forgave the people that crucified him. But I also think that a certain degree of justice she'd probably like a little bit. You rapidly get involved in the social life of a new workplace. I'd probably say a capital no. Or not capital, lowercase no, because I can see her maybe being okay with it, but I wouldn't say rapidly. The more people you speak to, the better you feel. That's another situational thing. But I would say, generally speaking, I'm going to have to put uncertain here. Because, again, the INFJs are kind of like, I would say, the social introverts. So that's a really good question. I'll have to ask her later. You tend to rely on your experience rather than on theoretical alternatives. Probably a lowercase no, because I definitely see her getting into patterns, but definitely nowhere near as living in the past as I do. As a rule, you proceed only when you have a clear and detailed plan. I would probably say uppercase yes for that one. She doesn't strike me as the improvisational type very much. You easily empathize with the concerns of other people. That's definitely a capital yes. Often you prefer to read a book than go to a party. I don't actually know if she's much of a bookworm, but she doesn't really talk about parties a whole lot, so I'd probably say an uppercase yes there. I don't really see her as a party person. When with a group of people, you enjoy being directly involved and at the center of attention. Probably not. I'd probably say uppercase no for that one. You are more inclined to experiment than to follow familiar approaches. Probably not, I don't think. I think I'll probably go with a lowercase no, because, I mean, every now and then she has new ideas, but I don't think she relies on them. You are strongly touched by the stories about people's troubles. Definitely an uppercase yes for that one. Makes me seem like a psychopath in comparison. Deadlines seem to you to be of relative rather than of absolute importance. I definitely think that she really likes deadlines a lot and will like post apology videos on her YouTube saying like, hey guys, here's the estimated date in which I will get this done. So I'll probably put a lowercase no, just because she does seem like she likes that YouTube schedule. You prefer to isolate yourself from outside noises. Probably a lowercase yes for that one. For you, it is easier to gain knowledge through hands-on experience than from books or manuals. I don't think so, because she does seem to always want to reference her sources, as opposed to just remembering them like I do. So I would say probably an uppercase no here. She's probably laughing at some of these that I'm making, but that's the beauty of this experiment. She wants to know how we see others differently than how we see ourselves. You think that almost everything can be analyzed. Absolutely. I would be surprised if there's anything she doesn't analyze. For you, no surprises is better than surprises, bad or good ones. Probably, I don't know. I'd probably say a lowercase yes, because I feel like if she didn't like any surprises at all, then she wouldn't watch my channel. You take pleasure in putting things in order. Yeah, I think that would be an uppercase yes. She does seem a little bit more organized than me, but maybe that's also because she's got that extroverted feeling that wants to please people, and I'm just like, Pleasing people is so subjective. You feel at ease in a crowd. I don't think she would. I think she values that one-on-one time. So I probably put an uppercase no. And I could be wrong here, but she doesn't strike me as like a party animal type of person. You have good control over your desires and temptations. I have no idea. That's another thing we really haven't talked about that much. I'm inclined to say a lowercase yes, but on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, we don't really talk about what tempts her, so I'll probably just say uncertain here. You easily understand new theoretical principles. Yeah, I can definitely see her doing that. You usually place yourself nearer to the side than in the center of the room. We've never actually met in person, but I would imagine she would do that. So I'll probably say lowercase yes here. When solving a problem, you would rather follow a familiar approach than seek a new one. I think I'm probably going to put a lowercase yes, just because she doesn't have the introverted sensing like I do, but I also think, like, she refers a lot to, like, her training and her studies, so, again, it doesn't seem like there's much room for experimentation there. A thirst for adventure is something close to your heart. Probably a lowercase no. I mean, I'm sure she has her bucket list things, but I don't think it's like a do or die situation. When considering a situation, you pay more attention to the current situation and less to a possible sequence of events. I'd probably say lowercase no there, just because I definitely think her brain goes into that wild guesswork moment. When solving a problem, you consider the rational approach to be the best. I definitely think she considers rationality more than most feeling types, but I do think that if she's in an emotionally charged situation, she's not going to be like me, where she tries to think about what makes sense as opposed to what does the person need. So I think probably a lowercase no here. You find it difficult to talk about your feelings. I feel like when she does talk about her feelings, it does flow very naturally. So I'm probably going to put a lowercase no here. Your decisions are based more on the feeling of a moment than on the thorough planning. I don't think so. I think she does usually thoroughly plan things out, being a J and all that. So I'm going to put lowercase no here. You prefer to spend your leisure time alone or relaxing in a tranquil environment. I would probably say capital yes here. If she does get leisure time alone, you feel more comfortable sticking to conventional ways. I don't think she would, just because that seems too much like sensing. So I'm going to put an uppercase no here, just because I feel like she'd want to define her own conventions. You are easily affected by strong emotions. Heck yes, unless if it's me, in which case she tends to not be able to read me very well, but that's to be expected. ISTJs are sort of the exception for INFJs. Like, they pride themselves in being like, I can read anyone like a book. They get to an ISTJ, they're just like, what are you feeling? So, yeah, that's definitely very interesting. You are always looking for opportunities. I would probably say yes there. I can definitely see her as the, let's figure out how to milk this out to its full potential. As a rule, current preoccupations worry you more than your future plans. I mean, I definitely think she's futuristic, but I don't think she's apathetic to the moment either. So I'll probably put maybe a little bit more of a lowercase no, just because I do feel like she does think about the future way more than I do. It is easy for you to communicate in social situations. I think I'll probably put a lowercase yes. I mean, I don't know, maybe she's changed since then, but it's not saying it was always, it's saying it is, meaning the present tense. And I think the extroverted feeling helps her to, like, get a general gist of what to do. You rarely deviate from your habits. I mean, she definitely seems to have sort of a habitual nature, but not as much as me. So I'd probably put a lowercase yes there. 2 more questions, guys, then we're almost done. You willingly involve yourself in matters which engage your sympathies. I would probably say capital yes there. That definitely seems right. You easily perceive various ways in which events could develop. That sounds like extroverted intuition, but who am I to talk about intuition? That's my bottom function. So I'm probably going to put probably a capital yes. Dominant intuition does seem like that. So let's see what she got. We're going to go to score it. INFJ. Introvert 50%, intuitive 72%, feeling 56%, and judging 59%, which is I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she thought, because she was saying that like feeling and thinking is the closest to being each other. In fact, it even just says you have moderate preference of feeling over thinking. So it looks like I either really understand INFJs really well or I butchered some of these questions. So I'll wait and see what her response video is and then cross my fingers that she manages to understand me as well as I understand her. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Esabelle, for suggesting this. This was honestly a lot of fun to try to theorize what it's like to be in someone else's shoes. So until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and I sure hope she doesn't view me as a crazy weirdo, because my sister sometimes does. Bye!